Are you struggling trying to figure all the notes of the chords? Getting lost with all the differences between a major or a minor chord? I mean, I get it, I've been there. So in this video, I want to show you 3 easy steps to find any chords on the piano. And by the way, if you'd like to have the chord cheat sheet I'm going to be using in this video, you can get it for free just down below in the description. So first, you need to figure out what is the major scale of the chord that you're looking for. So if you're trying to play a C chord, you need to learn the C major scale. Or if it's a G chord, you need the G major scale. A quick and easy way to find any major scale on the piano is to use the formula of a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. So if you try that on any note on the piano, you're gonna find the major scale of the note that you start from. So on C, like we just played, it's a whole step, a whole step, a half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. Let's do another example starting from D, for example. So if I apply the formula, because I don't know yet the D major scale, and that's all good, we're gonna have a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, and half step. Now we have the D major scale. So that is really the first step. So whatever the chord you're looking for, try to figure out the major scale of that chord. Now for the second step, you need to pick the first, the third, and the fifth note of the major scale you just learned. So for C major, I want the first, the third, and the fifth note. And this is the major chord because we started from the major scale. If I do the same thing on the D major we just did, so it's 1, 3, 4, 5. There we go, we have the D major chord. So really the second step is figuring out what is your major triad, like this, based on the scale. Alright, and now for step 3, so this is where you need to use the chord cheat sheet formula that you can find in the description. What's going to happen is that with the chord cheat sheet, you're simply going to follow the formula of each chord and apply it to the triad chord right here. So for example, if I'm looking for the C minor chord, so in the formula you can see that we have 1, flat 3, and 5. We already know how to play 1, 3, and 5. This is the major chord triad. So now what's going to happen is that the 3, there's a flat on 3. When we have a flat, we have to go a half step lower. That's it. You have your minor chord, you have your C minor chord. If I do the same idea, the 1, flat 3, and 5, but on D. So this is the major triad, but now we need to apply a flat to the third. So basically the F is going to go a step lower, and we have our D minor triad right here. It is truly that simple. You can use the formula to help you figure out all the chords. Let's try another one. So let's say, for example, we need to find an augmented chord. So you never heard of an augmented chord before, you don't know what to play. Look at the formula. And in the formula, we say 1, 3, and sharp 5. Let's go back to the C major. So we know 1, 3, and 5. We figured that out earlier. But now it's 1, 3, and sharp 5. So what's going to happen is a sharp takes the note and goes a half step higher. And now you have a C augmented 5, just like that. And for the D major we just did, same thing. We know the 1, 3, and 5. But now we need to have a sharp 5. So we take the 5, go a half step higher, and we have D augmented 5. So it's really the easiest way you can figure out any triad chord. Now it also works for 4 notes chord. You only need to add 1 note to the chord. So for example, if I'm looking for a C7, so the formula for that is 1, 3, 5, but now we have a 4th note that is going to be 7. And this one is actually going to be flat 7. So let's figure out what is the note from C. So we have 1, 3, 4, 5. So we know that one. Now we need the 7th note of the chord. So 6, 7, and we need it to be flat because it's a flat 7. There you go. That easy to figure out the C7 chord. Now what about in D major? If I want to have like a D7, what would happen? So we know the triad, the major triad. We've learned it. So it's 1, 3, 5, just like in the formula. Now the 7th note of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is actually C sharp here. And we need to add a flat because we're looking for a flat 7. So we take the 7, lower a half step, and there you go. You have your D7 chord. So the formula is really the easiest way you can figure out how to find any chords on the piano. So let's remember all 3 steps. The first step is you need to find the major scale of the chord you're looking for. So that's going to be your starting point. Then second step is that you need to figure out your triad chord, your major triad chord. And that is pretty easy. It's the 1, the 3rd, and the 5 of the major scale you just learned. And the final step is that you take the formula, and you apply all the changes, the flat, the 7, the sharp, to the notes of the scale. And this is how you're going to be able to know what are the notes you need actually to play that chord. All right, thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you out in any ways, please subscribe to this channel and like the video. It will help the channel grow and help more keyboard players. All right, happy practicing.